We supposed to be dropping.
Man, Lord.
We supposed to be mad.
We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the park.
Could get their money back was however their money back. He said, but Lil Cam Wolf and Big Caprice are the three. I'm up, I got the next, and they passed the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting against them up.
Boosie just came out swinging, this time putting J. Prince Jr. dead in the crosshairs over the Duke, the jeweler setup. And now J. Prince Sr.? He's firing back like never before. For years, the whispers pointed straight at Boosie, accusing him of lining Duke up. But he's done playing quiet. He's naming names, throwing shade, and calling out mob ties with no filter. The streets are buzzing, the feds are circling, and everybody's asking the same question. Who really pulled the strings that night? And why is J. Prince Sr. so pressed? Let's rewind it. September 2022. Duke the jeweler, just 29 years old, gets gunned down in what they called a robbery, right after leaving Boosie's concert in Houston. The whispers started immediately. People claimed Boosie either gave the green light or knew exactly who set it up. Word on the block said 2 dudes lined Duke up that night, and they weren't randoms. They had real family ties to Boosie. Social media ate it up, and while Boosie stayed silent, the streets kept pointing his way for months. But now the story is flipping. The spotlight is shifting to J. Prince Jr., son of Houston's so-called hip-hop godfather. While Boosie soaked up the heat, the rail shot caller stayed clean, quiet, and hiding in plain sight. Until now, cracks are showing. The picture's looking staged, too perfect to be real. Boosie wasn't the mastermind. He was a fall guy. Allegedly. Why? Because he was on that stage, because he invited Duke, because proximity made him look guilty. Even a rumor about Duke's Louis Vuitton bag popping up at Boosie's spot fueled the fire. Not proof of guilt, just proof he was close. And that's exactly why he was a perfect pawn. Now, Boosie's lighting the block on fire. He's straight up calling out J. Prince Jr., and J. Prince Sr. is clapping back hard. For years, Boosie ate the blame, but he's done with that role. He's pointing names and dragging mob ties into the light. The internet is going wild. The feds are circling closer. And the streets can't stop asking, who really made the call that night? And why is J. Prince Sr. looking so rattled? Think about it. Real dudes moving in L.A. check in. Real dudes moving in Atlanta check in. If you're getting money, you know you gotta check in to know where it's safe and where it's not. That's how the game works. But that same protection system gets twisted. And when Duke got hit, the whispers turned it into a storm. People swore Boosie gave the nod, or at least knew the setup. Word was, the shooters weren't strangers. They had family links. And social media kept pressing Boosie's name heavy while he stayed silent. But now the focus is on J. Prince Jr., the man who stayed low-key while Boosie carried the weight. The cracks are there. The setup looked staged from the very beginning. Boosie wasn't the boss. He was the scapegoat. Allegedly. He was there. He invited Duke, and that alone made him the perfect fall guy. And when you're dealing with a system built on ego, money, and power, somebody always pays. And Duke, he paid with his life. Whack 100 jumped in, swinging hard. He said J. Prince been brainwashing the game for decades, posing like protector while pulling strings in the shadows. And Whack wasn't the only one speaking up. Y'all love checking in, he said. Checking in with someone that's just gonna rob you blind. Harsh words, but they stuck. Charleston White doubled down, saying Duke's death hit different, not just because of his talent, but because it should have never happened at all. Charleston called it plain. Mob ties build a culture in Houston that isn't safe. It's deadly. Artists check in thinking they're protected, but really they're stepping into traps, surrounded by sharks. According to Charleston, Duke didn't get protected that night. He got played. He checked in with the wrong crew. And instead of safety, it cost him everything. Not for disrespect, but for being too trusting. Charleston didn't hold back. Not even a little. He ripped the mask clean off the industry, saying flat out, "This ain't protection. This is extortion dressed up pretty. A twisted code where silence keeps you breathing." According to him, Duke's death wasn't some freak accident or random street violence. No, Charleston called it for what was a ritual, a hit dressed up as robbery. And now that silence, it's starting to break. It's no longer whispers in the background. It's loud voices in the open. Even 50 Cent threw gasoline on the fire, posting cryptic clips, dropping captions that hinted at something deeper, and quietly showing love to Boosie in the process. The dice game details only made it messier. Word spread that Duke was on fire that night, hitting every roll, stacking hundreds, maybe even $100,000 right there on the table. Witnesses claim Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Capri were the ones passing the dice around. And that's when the energy in the room shifted, like something dark was about to happen. Then the streets brought up the Finesse 2-time situation. Word is Jay Prince Jr. allegedly got Finesse's girl pregnant behind his back. And F&G no love? He shouted it out loud. But Finesse? Nothing. Not a word. And in this game, silence is louder than denial. It screamed guilt. This was the same man who used to call mob ties his family, swearing loyalty, moving under their umbrella. Now, he won't even speak their name. He ghosted them completely. Cold silence, heavy tension, a vibe that told everybody loyalty was dead, buried, and gone. The fans started putting the puzzle together, piece by piece. Takeoff's murder, Boosie's public call-out, Finesse's sudden distance. And every time one name kept coming up, Jay Prince Jr. The internet went into overdrive. That wall of silence wasn't holding anymore. People who'd been scared to talk were suddenly typing with no filter. One post read, "Jay Prince been setting people up for years. He's had plenty knocked off." Another flat out said, "It wasn't Boosie, it was Jay Prince." This wasn't trolling. This was decades of suspicion finally spilling out. Folks saying Jay Prince had the game brainwashed, pretending to protect while pulling strings from the shadows. And caught in the middle of it all, Duke the jeweler. But Duke wasn't just another flashy face dripping ice. He was a self-made king. Chicago-born, Chicago-bred. No cosigns, no industry handouts. Just raw grind and vision. Started sketching in a cramped studio, flipping nothing into pure luxury. Within years, his one-of-a-kind pieces were draped on Rihanna, King Von, 50 Cent, even Boosie himself. Duke's jewelry wasn't just accessories. They were legacy pieces, generational art. And that right there is what made him dangerous to the wrong people. Independence mixed with real power, that always paints a target on your back. That night, Duke didn't just walk into a dice game. He walked into a lion's den. A high-stakes table hosted by Jay Prince Jr., with every eye on him. Sources say Duke was winning big, piling up close to $100,000 right in front of everybody. But sometimes, success is a trigger. That one might have been his death sentence. Hours later, he was robbed. Not just robbed, stripped of everything. His jewelry, his cash, his phone, and then shot. Not once, not twice. Multiple times. Like someone wanted to make sure he'd never rise again. This wasn't some random stick-up. It was precise, cold, personal, like a message carved in gunfire. And Boosie? He swears up and down he had nothing to do with it. When footage of his reaction surfaced, the man looked broken, couldn't even get his words out. He looked like someone blindsided, like he truly didn't see it coming. And maybe, just maybe, he really didn't. But the problem is, now Jay Prince Sr. is firing back, while Boosie flips the script, accusing him of being the one setting people up. And the streets? They're not buying Jay Prince's version. Especially not when Takeoff got killed in that same city, under that same protection. The coroner's report made it crystal clear. Takeoff wasn't hit by accident. He was hit in the head and torso, multiple times. That's not crossfire. That's not a stray bullet. That's surgical. That's planned. Yet investigators wrapped it up as chaos at a party. The same chaos narrative we heard when Duke was killed. Same city, same silence, and the same names circling heavy in the background. Footage from Takeoff's murder night showed the aftermath. Some froze, some ran, and then one familiar figure moved through the chaos like nothing happened. Calm, collected, like it was just another night. That clip went viral, fueling more suspicions. Fans connected the dots. Duke dead after Jay Prince Jr.'s dice game. Takeoff dead under Mob Tie's watch. 2 high-profile killings. 2 storms of questions. And the same empire's name tangled in both. That's why Boosie's shots at Jay Prince Sr. are cutting different now. Because this ain't just about one night. This is about a pattern of silence. A system built on fear and fake protection. A setup where artists check in not for safety, but for survival. And even then, some don't make it out alive. Duke was self-made. Takeoff was at the top of the game. Both still gone. And Jay Prince Sr.? He looks like he's scrambling, trying to spin the story before it spins him. The truth is, Duke's death didn't just shake the jewelry game. It cracked the entire industry's mask. Boosie says he was a bait. Finesse walked away. Takeoff checked in and still didn't make it home. And now everybody's asking, who's the next to speak up? Or worse, who's the next to vanish? This story? It's far from finished. Every time one layer gets peeled back, another one shows how dark this game really gets. So don't just scroll past. Stay locked in. Subscribe right now. Drop your take in the comments and share this video with someone who needs to see the truth for themselves. Because silence only protects the powerful. And if history tells us anything, the cracks, they're already showing.